Scotland is such a beautiful country. The rolling hills that lead up to the sea are green nearly all year round, and you can look out over the ocean to watch the grasses blowing in the wind and marvel at the colors and the sounds. This landscape is ideal for reflection and contemplation. As I walked from Stonehaven to Dunnottar Castle, I took the time to reflect. I had traveled up to Stonehaven alone and wasn't due to meet up with anyone until later that night, and as I walked, I started to think about that fact. The fact that I was alone. I quite like having time to myself to think and reflect and work. I was quite happy to explore by myself, but as I walked along and saw couples and families, I started wondering how healthy it is for me to spend so much time by myself. Growing up, I usually had one or two close friends, but those friendships never lasted much more than a few years, and this was due in large part to the highly mobile nature of my childhood, but it still makes me think. When I just started high school, I had to write a short story for an English class using 5 made-up words. Now, I no longer remember what my 5 made-up words were, but I do remember having to read my story to the class. A man walking in a park having a mental breakdown was a storyline that many of my classmates weren't expecting. The story started with a man watching what was going on in the park. Friends laughing together, happy couples walking, people spending time together, dogs playing together, being taken for a walk. And as the man observed this, he started to compare it with his own loneliness and isolation. He fell into a blind rage and started to attack a couple of dogs who were out on a walk. Why should even the pets have friends when I have no one? Now, I've lost track of where this short story is, but seeing as I wrote it as a moody teenager, it probably wasn't very good. But the theme and the basic idea behind this story does mirror our world. I know from talking with others and reflecting on my own life, loneliness and isolation is painful. Seeing other people enjoy friendships or relationships can be torturous. Why don't I have any friends? Do people not like me? What's wrong with me? Now, the tone of these questions betrays a self-centeredness that whispers lies. We can easily overlook the pain in other people's lives by thinking we are unique in our own problems. There are issues with my character and behavior, and other people do experience similar pain. People are good at acting. The happy couple can easily act like they have it all together. I can pretend too. I can pretend I don't know that building relationships and friendships takes a lot of work. There are sacrifices, compromises, and investments behind the couple strolling by and the laughter of the close friends. For some people, these costs are almost unnoticed. Some people easily handle the mental strain of thinking up of what to say next in a conversation. There are people who find it energizing to be with others. But for me, it takes a lot of practice and work. I find it far easier to handle isolation than contact. I can listen to a podcast, click over to YouTube, or scroll through some social media feeds and get some secondhand social interaction. But secondhand is never as good as firsthand. It takes time to build history and shared experiences with others. And hiding behind a screen takes my time without providing that real personal contact. As I walked these hills and spent time thinking about this, I started to see the need to keep stepping out of my comfort zone and spend time with other people. There's no guarantee that my efforts will lead to any great friendships or sense of fulfillment in a relationship, but if I don't put any effort into this, there is no hope of anything developing. Friendships take work. The fun and frivolity seen in a good group dynamic takes effort and sacrifice by each member. It is hard for me to be quick on my feet in a conversation, but that doesn't mean I shouldn't try. This walk gave me time to process this issue, and I've kept thinking about it over the summer, and it's raised a few questions. First off, what's the foundation and motivation behind this? Why do we need to have friends? And where does the strength to persevere in relationships come from? Is it sustainable? I hope to have more thoughts on this topic over the next few weeks and months. Some may be follow-up videos here or posts on my Patreon or blog. Check out the links in the video description if you want to follow along this line of thinking. Thanks for watching. Cheers!